Some relationships do not break suddenly. They slowly lose connection. Two people continue living side by side, sharing routines, responsibilities, and conversations. Yet something inside the relationship begins to feel different. Words become shorter. Silence becomes longer. The closeness that once felt natural begins to feel distant. Many couples experience this moment and do not fully understand why it is happening. Love may still exist, yet the connection begins to weaken. The heart begins asking quiet questions. What changed? When did the distance begin? Why does it feel harder to understand each other now? The truth is that relationships face pressures that often go unnoticed. Daily stress, responsibilities, disappointments, and unspoken emotions slowly build walls between two hearts. Without realizing it, both people begin protecting themselves instead of opening themselves. This is where something powerful can begin to happen. When a relationship invites God into the center of its struggles, something shifts. The presence of God creates space for humility, healing, and understanding where tension once lived. The Holy Bible teaches in the letter to the Ephesians that love grows stronger when hearts learn to walk in patience, kindness, and grace. These qualities are not sustained by human effort alone. They grow when the relationship becomes connected to God. This moment of prayer is an opportunity to pause and bring your relationship before the Lord. Not with pride, not with accusations, but with sincerity. Because when two hearts allow God to guide their steps, restoration becomes possible even in places where distance once grew. And the first step toward that restoration begins with recognizing a quiet reality that many relationships experience. When the connection between two hearts begins to weaken. Every relationship begins with closeness. In the early days, conversation flows easily, attention comes naturally, and both hearts feel seen and valued. Yet over time, life introduces pressures that slowly affect that connection. Responsibilities increase. Work becomes demanding. Stress enters daily life. Small misunderstandings appear and are sometimes left unresolved. What once felt effortless begins to require more patience and understanding. The distance rarely appears all at once. It grows through small moments, conversations that never happen, feelings that remain unspoken, words that were meant to express care but instead create confusion. The Holy Bible reminds us in the book of Psalms that God understands the depths of the human heart. Nothing about our struggles is hidden from Him, including the quiet tensions that develop inside relationships. Recognizing this distance is not a sign of failure. It is a moment of awareness. When two people acknowledge that the connection has weakened, they open the door for something important to happen next. Because once the heart becomes honest about the distance, it becomes ready to confront an even deeper truth that many relationships struggle to recognize. The emptiness that appears when God is not at the center of a relationship. Many relationships begin with love, good intentions, and sincere commitment. Two people promise to support each other, protect the relationship, and grow together. Yet as time passes, many couples begin trying to solve every challenge only with their own strength. When disagreements appear, emotions lead the conversation. When frustration grows, pride often speaks louder than understanding. Slowly, the relationship begins to depend only on human effort, and human effort alone is often not enough to sustain peace and unity over time. The Holy Bible reveals an important truth in the book of Ecclesiastes. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. This teaching reminds us that a relationship becomes stronger when God is part of the bond between two people. When God is not present in the center of a relationship, something subtle begins to happen. Decisions are guided only by emotion. Conflicts grow deeper because humility becomes harder to practice. Love still exists, but it becomes more fragile under pressure. This moment invites an honest reflection. Has God truly been invited into the heart of this relationship? Not only in words, but in daily attitudes, patience, forgiveness, and mutual care. When a couple begins to recognize this spiritual absence, they also discover something hopeful. The door to restoration is never closed. God does not turn away from relationships that are searching for healing, and that realization leads to the next powerful step. The moment when a relationship becomes open to a divine invitation, that can restore what feels distant. The divine invitation to restore love. God never looks at a struggling relationship with indifference. The heart of the Lord is always inclined toward restoration. When two people begin to feel distance, confusion, or emotional fatigue, it does not mean the story has reached its end. Many times it means that a new chapter is waiting to begin. The Holy Bible reveals again and again that God is a restorer. In the book of Joel, the Lord declares that He is able to restore what was lost over time. This promise is not limited to material things. It also speaks to relationships that have been weakened by misunderstanding, disappointment, or silence. The divine invitation is simple but powerful. Instead of allowing distance to grow deeper, God invites both hearts to return to Him first. When a relationship reconnects with God, something begins to change inside each person. Pride softens. The desire to understand grows stronger. Grace begins to replace resentment. This is why prayer becomes such a powerful turning point. Prayer opens the door for God's presence to enter the relationship. It creates a moment where both hearts stop defending themselves and begin seeking healing instead. Right now, consider this possibility. God is not distant from your relationship. He sees the struggles. He understands the emotions. And He invites both of you to bring this relationship into His presence. When that invitation is accepted, the heart becomes ready to face something that many relationships quietly carry, without ever speaking about it. The emotions that have been hidden deep inside. Recognizing the feelings that have been kept silent. Many relationships carry emotions that are never fully expressed. Words remain unspoken. Frustrations are hidden behind silence. Expectations remain inside the heart instead of being shared with honesty. Over time, these quiet emotions begin to shape the distance between two people. Sometimes the silence comes from fear. Fear of creating conflict. Fear of not being understood. Fear that speaking openly might cause more pain. Yet the feelings remain present, quietly influencing the way each person reacts, speaks, and listens. The Holy Bible reminds us in the book of Psalms that the Lord searches the heart and understands every thought. Nothing we carry inside is hidden from His presence. This truth invites us to approach God with honesty, even about the emotions we struggle to express. Recognizing these hidden feelings is an important step toward healing. When the heart becomes aware of what it has been carrying, it becomes possible to bring those emotions into the light instead of allowing them to quietly create more distance. Take a moment to reflect honestly. Are there disappointments that were never spoken? Are there expectations that were never shared? Are there moments that left a mark on the heart but were never addressed? When these emotions are acknowledged before God, something begins to change. The heart becomes softer. Understanding becomes possible again. And once these hidden feelings are recognized, the relationship becomes ready for a powerful step that can transform the direction of the journey. Placing the relationship completely into the hands of God. Placing the relationship before God in prayer. There comes a moment when a relationship needs more than conversation. It needs surrender. When emotions become heavy and understanding feels distant, the most powerful step two people can take is to bring the relationship before God with sincerity. Prayer is not simply a spiritual habit. It is an act of trust. It is the moment when two hearts stop trying to carry everything alone and begin placing their concerns into the hands of the Lord. The Holy Bible teaches in the first letter of Peter that we are invited to cast all our anxieties upon God because He cares for us. This truth applies not only to personal struggles, but also to the relationships that shape our lives. Bringing a relationship before God in prayer changes the atmosphere of the heart. Instead of defending positions, the soul begins seeking guidance. Instead of holding tightly to past frustrations, the heart begins asking for wisdom and peace. Take this moment seriously. Present your relationship before the Lord with humility. Speak honestly in prayer. Ask God to guide your words, soften your attitudes, and bring healing where tension has grown. When a relationship is placed in God's hands, something begins to shift quietly but powerfully. The heart becomes more open to change, not only in the other person but within itself. And this is where the next transformation begins. A sincere prayer asking God to shape the heart with greater patience and deeper understanding. Asking God for a more patient and understanding heart. Many people enter a relationship hoping that the other person will change. They wish the other would speak differently, react differently, or understand them better. Yet one of the most powerful transformations in a relationship begins when a person asks God to transform their own heart first. Patience and understanding do not grow easily when emotions are strong. When frustration appears, the natural response is often defense or criticism. This is why spiritual transformation becomes essential for a relationship that seeks peace. The Holy Bible teaches in the letter to the Colossians that believers are called to clothe themselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. These qualities create an environment where love can grow even during difficult moments. Prayer invites God to develop these qualities inside the heart. It is a request for strength to listen with empathy, to respond with calmness, and to understand the feelings that may be hidden behind the other person's words. Speak sincerely before the Lord. Ask Him to soften your heart and give you the patience that human effort alone cannot sustain. Ask Him to teach you how to love with wisdom and grace. When the heart begins to grow in patience and understanding, many tensions inside the relationship begin to lose their power. Words become more careful, reactions become calmer. And in that calmer space, another important healing process can begin. The healing of wounds that words and actions have left behind. Healing wounds caused by words and actions. Many of the deepest wounds in a relationship are not caused by strangers. They are caused by moments when emotions take control and words are spoken without care. A sentence said in anger, a reaction given in frustration, or an action that communicates distance can leave marks that remain long after the moment has passed. Over time, these wounds can quietly influence how two people see each other. The heart remembers the pain even when the conversation has ended. Trust becomes more fragile. Communication becomes more cautious. The Holy Bible reminds us in the book of Proverbs that the tongue has the power of life and death. Words can build trust or slowly weaken it. This is why healing in a relationship often requires more than simply moving forward. It requires bringing those wounds before God and asking Him to restore what was hurt. Prayer becomes a place where the heart releases pain instead of storing it. It is a moment to ask God to heal the memories that still influence emotions and reactions. Healing does not erase the past, but it restores the strength to move forward without allowing those wounds to control the relationship. Bring those moments before the Lord with sincerity. Ask Him to heal the words that caused pain and to restore peace where tension once lived. And as healing begins to touch those wounded places, the heart becomes ready to rediscover something that has the power to transform the direction of any relationship: the true meaning of forgiveness. Rediscovering the power of forgiveness in a relationship. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and most difficult steps in any relationship. When the heart has been hurt, the natural reaction is to protect itself. Many people hold on to past moments as a way of guarding their emotions from being wounded again. Yet when forgiveness is delayed, the weight of the past slowly becomes heavier inside the relationship. Old memories return during new conversations. Small disagreements begin to carry the emotional weight of previous conflicts. The Holy Bible teaches in the Gospel of Matthew that forgiveness is not only an act of kindness toward another person, it is also an act of freedom for the heart that chooses to release the pain. Forgiveness does not mean pretending that the past never happened. It means choosing not to allow the past to control the future of the relationship. It is a decision to let grace take the place of resentment. Bring this moment before God with sincerity. Ask Him to give you the strength to forgive where forgiveness feels difficult. Ask Him to remove bitterness and replace it with peace. When forgiveness begins to enter a relationship, something remarkable happens. The heart becomes lighter. Communication becomes more open. The atmosphere between two people begins to change. And when the weight of past wounds starts to lift, the relationship becomes ready for something that strengthens the path ahead. The wisdom that only God can give for the journey of two hearts walking together. Asking God for wisdom to strengthen the relationship. Every relationship faces moments where decisions must be made. Conversations require care. Differences in perspective appear. Without wisdom, these moments can easily become sources of tension instead of opportunities for growth. Human emotions alone do not always provide clear direction. Sometimes pride wants to win an argument instead of protecting the relationship. Sometimes frustration clouds the ability to see the situation with clarity. This is why wisdom becomes essential for a relationship that desires stability and peace. The Holy Bible teaches in the letter of James that if anyone lacks wisdom, they should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. This promise reveals that divine wisdom is available to those who sincerely seek it. Prayer invites God's guidance into the relationship. It asks the Lord to shape the way we think, speak, and respond during difficult moments. Wisdom helps transform conflict into understanding and decisions into opportunities for unity. Take this moment to ask God for wisdom over your relationship. Ask Him to guide your conversations, your reactions, and the choices that will shape your future together. Ask Him to help both hearts see beyond emotions and recognize what truly strengthens love. When wisdom begins to guide a relationship, many struggles that once created distance begin to lose their power. And from that place of clarity, the relationship becomes ready for something even deeper. A life where God is not only consulted during problems, but welcomed into every part of the journey. Inviting God to be part of daily life as a couple. Many relationships remember God only during moments of crisis. When problems appear, prayer becomes urgent. When peace returns, spiritual attention slowly fades again. Yet a relationship becomes truly strong when God is not only called during difficulties, but welcomed into everyday life. Inviting God into the daily life of a couple changes the foundation of the relationship. Decisions are no longer guided only by emotion or convenience. Conversations begin to carry more patience, more respect, and more awareness of the values that strengthen love. The Holy Bible teaches in the book of Proverbs that we should acknowledge the Lord in all our ways, and He will direct our paths. This teaching reveals that God desires to guide not only the major decisions of life, but also the small moments that shape the direction of a relationship. Welcoming God into daily life may begin with simple actions, a shared prayer, a moment of reflection on the teachings of the Holy Bible, a conscious effort to treat each other with the grace that God offers to both hearts. When God becomes part of the routine of a relationship, something powerful begins to happen. The atmosphere between two people becomes calmer. Conflicts become easier to navigate. Love begins to grow on a spiritual foundation that supports both hearts. And as God becomes present in daily life, the relationship begins to create something that every couple desires, but few intentionally build. An environment filled with love, respect, and genuine care. Creating an environment of love, respect, and care. A relationship is not shaped only by major decisions or important conversations. It is shaped by the atmosphere that two people create every single day. Small attitudes, simple words, and everyday reactions quietly build the emotional environment where love either grows stronger or slowly weakens. When respect is present, conversations feel safer. When kindness becomes a habit, both hearts feel valued. When care is expressed through actions, trust becomes deeper and more stable. The Holy Bible teaches in the first letter to the Corinthians that love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, and it is not proud. These teachings reveal that love is not only a feeling, it is a daily choice expressed through attitudes that protect the dignity and peace of the other person. Creating an environment of love requires intentional effort. It means choosing calm words during tense moments. It means recognizing the value of the other person even when disagreements appear. It means practicing gratitude for the presence of the one who walks beside you. Bring this desire before God in prayer. Ask Him to help both hearts cultivate a relationship where love is visible in actions, respect guides communication, and care becomes a natural expression of the bond you share. When this kind of environment begins to grow, the relationship becomes more than companionship. It becomes a space where both hearts can grow spiritually. And that growth leads to the next beautiful step in the journey. learning to walk together toward God, learning to grow spiritually together. A relationship becomes stronger when two people grow not only emotionally, but spiritually. When both hearts begin to seek God together, the bond between them gains a deeper foundation that goes beyond feelings or circumstances. Spiritual growth changes the direction of a relationship. Instead of walking through life guided only by personal desires, the couple begins to seek the wisdom and direction that come from God. Faith becomes a shared journey rather than an individual path. The Holy Bible teaches in the Gospel of Matthew that where 2 or 3 gather in the name of the Lord, He is present among them. This promise reveals something powerful. When 2 people unite their hearts in faith, the presence of God becomes part of their journey. Growing spiritually together may begin with simple moments. Reading the teachings of the Holy Bible, reflecting on the message of the gospel, praying together during moments of gratitude or difficulty. These practices create a spiritual connection that strengthens unity. When 2 people seek God together, the relationship gains a new perspective. Challenges become opportunities to trust God. Decisions become moments to ask for guidance. Love becomes rooted in something deeper than emotion. And as spiritual unity grows, faith begins to awaken hope in areas where the relationship once felt fragile. Because when God is present, even the most delicate situations can be restored. Trusting that God can restore what feels fragile. There are moments in a relationship when things begin to feel uncertain. The connection that once felt natural may now seem delicate. Conversations may require more effort. Emotions may carry a quiet fear that the relationship is not as strong as it once was. In these moments, many people begin to believe that the relationship is slowly fading. Yet faith invites the heart to see a different possibility. What appears fragile to human eyes may still be within the powerful hands of God. The Holy Bible reveals throughout its teachings that God is able to restore what has been weakened. In the book of Isaiah, the Lord speaks about renewing strength and bringing new life where people once felt exhausted and discouraged. This promise also applies to relationships. God sees the history that 2 people have built together. He understands the love that still exists, even when it is hidden beneath frustration, silence, or misunderstanding. Bring this fragile feeling before God with sincerity. Ask Him to restore what feels tired. Ask Him to rebuild trust where it has been shaken. Ask Him to renew the love that once flowed freely between both hearts. When faith replaces fear, hope begins to rise again. The relationship no longer depends only on past emotions. It becomes supported by the belief that God is actively working for restoration. And when hope returns to the heart, it opens the door for a powerful spiritual moment. A moment to receive the grace of God over the love that 2 people share. Receiving the grace of God over your love. There are moments in life when love needs more than effort. It needs grace. Grace is the divine strength that touches the heart when human strength feels limited. It is the presence of God bringing peace, patience, and renewal to a relationship. When a couple invites God's grace into their relationship, they begin to experience something deeper than emotional connection. They begin to experience spiritual protection over their love. The Holy Bible teaches in the 2nd letter to the Corinthians that the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ is a living presence that strengthens those who seek Him. This grace has the power to calm restless hearts, heal emotional wounds, and restore unity between 2 people. Take this moment to receive that grace with faith. Ask the Lord Jesus to pour His peace over your relationship. Ask Him to protect the love you share from bitterness, misunderstanding, and discouragement. Ask Him to fill your hearts with patience, kindness, and mutual respect. Allow the presence of God to cover every area of your relationship, your conversations, your decisions, your future, and your journey together. When the grace of God rests upon a relationship, love becomes stronger than temporary emotions. It becomes anchored in something eternal. And this truth leads to the final reflection of this prayer. A realization that transforms the way a relationship moves forward. When God becomes the center, love finds a new beginning. A relationship can survive many seasons. It can pass through moments of joy, moments of confusion, moments of silence, and even moments of distance. Yet when God becomes the center of that relationship, something remarkable begins to happen. Love gains a new beginning. When two hearts decide to place God above pride, above fear, and above past disappointments, the relationship begins to rest on a stronger foundation. Love is no longer sustained only by emotions or circumstances. It becomes supported by faith, patience, forgiveness, and divine guidance. The Holy Bible reminds us in the Gospel of John that love has its true meaning when it reflects the love that comes from God. This love is patient, faithful, and willing to begin again when the journey becomes difficult. Take this moment to surrender your relationship to God completely. Invite the Lord Jesus to guide your steps, protect your bond, and renew your love each day. Ask Him to strengthen your heart so that your relationship becomes a place of peace, growth, and mutual encouragement. When God stands at the center, misunderstandings lose their power. Fear gives way to trust. Distance gives way to connection. Love becomes stronger because it is supported by the presence of the one who created it. And when a relationship walks with God, every new day becomes an opportunity to begin again with grace, wisdom, and a deeper love.